What's up, YouTube friends? It's a cold, dreary day here in Nebraska again. So today I decided I wanted to make some bone broth. Now in my closet I already have quarts of ham stock and I also have a vegetable chicken stock, but I use smoked bones for that, and sometimes I just don't want the smoked flavor. So today I'm just gonna make a plain bone broth. So in these bags right here I have a turkey carcass, I have some wings, and a drumstick. And in these two, I have leftover chicken pieces from a rotisserie chicken. Now I'm going to keep this mostly bone, but I do have one onion that needs to be used up, one potato that's seen better days, my celery's getting a little limp, and I also have a bag of spinach that's starting to wilt, so I'm going to toss that in my pot also. Especially when I'm sick, I like to make egg drop soup, and I like to keep that as plain as possible. That way it doesn't hurt your tummy. I do have a video on how I use my pressure canner to make stock, and that's really quick and really easy. But I want this to cook all day, low and slow. So today I'll be using my hot water bath canner. So all I'm going to do is dump in my parts. Make sure you get the plastic pieces out. Now with this rotisserie chicken, I made egg rolls and put them in the freezer. So I kept all the skin, all the bones, and everything I didn't want in my egg rolls. I don't know if you can see it, but this turkey still has a lemon in it. I'm just going to keep it in there and toss it in my pot. Now I usually keep the skins on my onions, but this one kind of has a little bit of mold on there, so I'm just going to peel that off. But keep the rest of the skin. That'll give you a nice color for your stock. And all I'm going to do is just cut it in half and toss it in. Same thing with the celery. Now you can put anything that you want in your bone broth. This is a great way to clean out your crisper drawer and get rid of all those vegetables that just need to be used up. Now as far as seasonings go, I'm going to keep this simple. I do have some bay leaves here, and I'll put about 2 or 3, and since this is a big pot, I'll go ahead and put 3. And the only other thing I'm going to add to this at this time is some peppercorns. So maybe a giant tablespoon. Or a little bit more. So now the only thing left to do is cover this with water. So I'm just going to fill this up with water, throw it on the stove, and bring it up to a boil. Alright, so it's come up to a boil, and it did take about an hour, but remember the stuff was frozen. I also added a few more things to my pot. I found a bag of turkey necks that was in my freezer, and also I had a big chunk of ginger, probably like that was in my freezer, and I tossed that in as well. Ginger is very good for you when you're ill. If I had any garlic, I'd also toss that in there because that's great for you when you're sick too. So now I'm just going to crank down my heat to a simmer, and I'm just going to let this boil for at least 12 hours. So here is my bone broth. Now it was really late at night when this was finished. It was probably about 11:30 at night, and I was really tired. So I just put the lid on it, shut it off, and set it on the back of the stove. Right now it's 6:30 in the morning. And now I'm going to strain this. So right here in my sink I have another stock pot and my large colander. I also have a wire one inside here just to catch some of the particles, but I'm going to strain this a few times. So the first time is just to get all the big parts out. Now I'm just giving everything a good press just to make sure all the juice is out of it. Now I poured my stock back into my larger stock pot and I rinsed everything out. And now I'm just going to pour it through my fine sieve. And that should have got all the smaller particles out. Now you just want to stick this in your fridge for a day or two until all that fat rises to the top and solidifies. But I want to can this today. So what I'm going to do is throw this down into my chest freezer for a while until all that fat solidifies and I can get most of it off. In the meantime, I'm going to throw my jars in the dishwasher, put them on the sanitize cycle, and get ready to can this up. So now my fat has congealed enough so I can scrape it off the top. So I got the majority of the fat off. I'm going to stick this onto my stove and bring it up to a boil. Alright, so my stock has come up to a boil. My jars are nice and hot. You never want to put a hot liquid in a cold jar because they will break. I have a little bit of vinegar here to wipe my rims when I get these all filled. And I have my lids right here in hot water. My pressure canner is on the stove ready to go. So now I'm just going to fill up each of these quart jars and I'll be leaving a 1-inch headspace, which is this rim right here. Now my bone broth looks a little bit cloudy and that's just from the potato. I don't mind it because it's going to taste great, but if you want a clearer stock, just leave out the potato. So now I'm just going to take my paper towel, I dipped it in my vinegar, and I'm going to wipe the rim. The vinegar is going to cut any grease on your rim that might keep your jar from sealing. So now I'm just going to grab a lid, stick it on, grab a ring, and I'm just going to tighten this to fingertip tight. Just like that. And then set it off in my canner. I have my first batch ready to go. So I'm just going to line up my arrows on my canner and close it. I'm going to crank my heat to high and I'm going to wait until this spitcock is spewing out a steady stream of steam. When that happens, I'll set my timer for 10 minutes before I stick on my weight. So this has vented for 10 minutes. Now I'm just going to add my weight. And I'm going to wait for this to come up to pressure per my area's recommendations, and for me it's 11 pounds of pressure. Now once this comes up to pressure, I'll start my timer for 25 minutes for quarts and 20 for pints. Now my pressure canner usually settles about 13 to 14 pounds of pressure, but you never want to go below your recommended pressure. If you do, you need to bring it back up to pressure and start your timing all over again. Now I was able to get 10 quarts plus a cup here, so I'm just going to throw this in the fridge and I'll use this up sometime this week. When I'm feeling under the weather, there's nothing better than going into my pantry, grabbing a quart of some homemade bone broth or chicken stock, and making my own homemade soup. I hope you give this video a try. If you like this video and want to see more of my videos, hit the big red subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you have a question about this video or any of my other videos. Check out my links down below if you'd like to support this channel. And as always, thanks for watching, happy canning, and I'll see you next time.